Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to do a quick tour of this website I made called The Headlines. It's at theheadlines.io and I'm going to show you how I made it with my documentation process and my chat with Claude Web and Claude Code. I thought this was going to be a very interesting project because it's going to report on the latest news, and I've got a calendar here where I can choose the dates of when things have been reported. If you jump into cursor here, I just want to quickly show you my documentation here. I have on the left here, you can see I've got an ADR. It's architectural decisions record. So before we go too far into the docs, I just want to do a quick rundown of this website just so you know what you're looking at and what I've actually built. So this is the main front page, this is the home page where you get all the articles in the calendar. It's very simple. You've got categories here. These are just the general categories that I'm interested in, and recent just makes all of them with the most recent first. So because I'm logged in, anyone can come in and log into this, theheadlines.io, but because I'm logged in as the admin, I get this special admin dashboard button that takes me to the back end. So if we go to the back end, this is where I actually create all the articles. And I've got the dashboard here, which is just like a general, like I can get into places, shortcuts. The create tab is where we actually create articles. I've got three ways of creating them. I have RSS feeds, which I can make new ones. I just copy and paste the RSS feed in here. Another feature I put in here was to create like a completely new research source. So this would be like I've just got an idea on something, and I've also got a YouTube tab here where I can put in a YouTube video or a section of a YouTube video using these time codes, and that will create a transcript for this section, and it will also send, once I queue it and process it, it will also send that section to Perplexity to fact check and to write an article about that section with all the sources documented as well. Okay, so and then after it's processed, Perplexity, it comes back with the finished article with all the source URLs, and they come in. I've got different tabs here. It comes into the pending tab first, where I can open up, and this is just a quick view of everything. Open up. Let's preview it. Okay, so this is the preview of the article that Perplexity's written. When you edit, you have this other option. We go into this kind of add image flow is attached to this edit section. So once I go into here, I have a whole flow of creating an image which is actually linked up to DALL-E 3. And also Perplexity, also I've made it so Perplexity creates my prompt for me from the article. And we have another feature in here where I have three prompts actually created from Perplexity. All the articles actually on my website are in this approved. Once it's approved, it gets put into here, and these are the only articles that are shown on the front end. I also have an image gallery, so all the images that I create with my AI prompts, I save them to my Cloudflare R2 bucket, and I have them here because some of the ones I create and I don't want to just kind of like lose it forever. So I can save them in here, and if you look at an image like this one, it has certain, like I can rate them, and it's got the model, and I save the prompt. It's got a few interesting things to me anyway that I would like to know about this particular image. So now you've seen the front end and back end. If I jump into cursor here and get back into this ADR document that I showed you earlier, what I did, I made a documentation system. While starting to make this, it was just off the fly. I was using Claude MD. I was changing things. It was a bit of a nightmare. I was losing context. While talking with Claude Code, I wanted to come up with an idea of how to keep context while using Claude Code. And through all these chats, we came up with this. And that is to create a docs folder and a documentation system. So the architectural decisions record is one of the first things that got created, and I actually made this website in about a month, and it's quite good to look back and see all the decisions and pivots that I made and why and how. But actually the main purpose of this video is that I want to improve my documentation. It helped me build my website, but actually I've gone through it and it's kind of, some of it is a bit bloated. It's not 100% correct. For example, this architecture document it's good. I like this bit that it's got the schemas for all the tables in it. And to be honest, when I go through it, it's good. Okay, image generation management. This is good as well, but it kind of goes a bit on. It's quite long, and I want to slim down stuff as much as possible. So in future, anyone can just come into this and quickly see the heading and the points and see what it's about. Also, having a look at it, I found some of my documents had a lot of the same kind of information in, and anyone who's into coding or development or making tech in any way will kind of understand that duplication is something that you don't want. So this kind of worried me when I saw my components document and my features document were very similar. I wanted more of a separation, and I think it could just be cleaned up. It could be clearer. The documentations could be more lightweight, so it's just bang, point after point, short. You can go through it quickly, and then in Claude.md, which is what Claude Code looks at by default to find out what's going on, then in here we can send Claude Code to whichever documentation is going to be the one to give it the context. When I first made this, it was all a bit, okay, I'm just kind of like following Claude web chat into how my docs should be. But now I've actually worked through it, I know what my docs should be. And after kind of working at this, and talking to Claude Web, let's have a look at Claude Web here on my most recent chat. And this is me and Claude talking about how I can improve my docs. And it took a few goes, if you can see, but I got there in the end. And it gave me some docs. It gave me an ADR, and I wasn't happy with it. And I kind of went back to it, and I was like, look, I want my docs to be as lightweight as possible. Explaining my system, a simple format with titles, points, and numbers, and with as little code as possible. When I was skimming through it, I did find bits of code, and to be honest, that is something that I don't want in there. I'd rather the code just stay in the code base and the docs just be for anyone to read. So giving all these kind of like information to Claude, I actually could give Claude web chat all my docs to analyze them and see where I'm going wrong. And this is really good. This was really good to do because I really got a deeper insight into the problems with my docs. So here, look, there's in features.md and components.md, there's massive duplication, architecture and domain. could be separated more. UX and components scattered across both files. You see, it's really kind of looking, and this is what my original concern with architecture.md is 400 lines plus. We want to slim that down. Remember, I want this to be, this is the context for Claude Code. So the the more lightweight and readable it can be, that's less tokens going into Claude Code, which means it's going to cost you less and it's going to be faster and it's going to be more efficient. I don't want to. Something I found building with AI is giving too much context kind of confuses it sometimes. So especially with the chat here, when I closed it now, but with the when you go to the Claude Code interface in the terminal, if you just keep the same chat session going for ages and ages and ages, it kind of gets to the end of it and it doesn't really perform as well as having short chats, short sessions, resume sessions for particular bits. And even if you, and when you do have short sessions, you lose context of the whole project, which is where this comes in. So this was this was really useful to have. I saw it was making ADR7, then I realized we're actually on ADR6. So I'm like, start back to ADR6. Let's just have a little skim through of some of the things that this new direction is going to do. After completing the front-end redesign and calendar system implementation, analysis of the current documentation reveals two critical structural problems that undermine the document-driven development. 13 documents with significant information duplication, heavy technical explanations where simple lists would suffice, same systems describable across multiple files, complex code examples in files meant for Claude understanding. Okay, so the pain points, the badge filter system describing features, components, and UX and architecture. Okay, there's a lot of duplication going on there. And with the calendar component, and like how we saw with the documentation. Okay, so you see the things that have come out of the chat have gone into this new ADR, and what it's done, it's formatted it in a really nice way for Claude Code to understand quickly and efficiently of what the problems are and what it's going to do. No human language faff. It's straight titles, bullet points, headings, and as we continue, okay, that's good. Cognitive overload, it's got more pain points that it's talking about. Okay, this is from my chat. This is how I wanted my documentations to be: title, bullet points, numbers list, plain English, minimal code examples, no complex diagrams or technical prose. I did notice some of those got slipped in there earlier. Okay, Claude MD, what I am working on right now is the current priorities, quick reference links, implementation checklist. This is what Claude Code looks at by default. It doesn't go to my docs. It looks at Claude MD. So it's up to us to direct Claude MD to these docs for more context, depending on what it's doing and what particular feature it's building out or what it's fixing. That at first this is more an explanation of what each document should do, and I really like this. It's really put it very simply: domain MD, business entities, content workflows, category definitions, product overview. Then we've got architecture, database schemas, API integrations, data relationships, and so on. Another really good thing that I wanted it to include from the chat is questions. of what each file should answer. So for the Claude MD file is what am I working on right now? Domain is what are the business rules and product vision? Architecture is how does data flow through the system? Features.md, what should the user experience be? Components, what technical components do we build? UX, how should it look and feel? Prompts, how do we integrate with AI services? Okay, development.md, how do we build and maintain code? Okay, and it keeps going in here. Simplify files. Again, we've got each file uses the system of how we want it. No more complex paragraphs. And as you can see here, it's really going to go through and it's just going to go through all these instructions to clean up my docs. And here, this is where it's got the real analysis, points from the real analysis on Claude Web to work on. Eliminate redundant files, remove duplicate workflows, then phase 2 simplification, convert architecture.md complex explanations to simple lists, test Claude Code, understands simplified docs, and then again, just to finish it off, the main points that I wanted from my chat is included in this kind of format, which is the best way for Claude Code to read stuff. It's the best, fastest, simpler way. Give it a title, give it points, that's it. Okay? When you start going into human descriptions of explaining stuff into like the language that we use every day, that is not ideal for Claude Code to understand stuff, and it can also get quite confused. Everyone speaks a bit differently. We're all from different countries. We've got different accents. We've got different ways of writing. This is a great way to kind of make things on a universal level. Okay, so Claude.md. There's nothing about ADR6 in here. Okay, this is great. This will show you how I get my Claude code written. Because if we go back to the project here, this is all my docs. Now this is how I'm working. These are all updated from yesterday. Okay, apart from the ADR, which is the README file. Okay, but what I'll do, I'll jump back into this chat, which made the ADR, and I'll say, please look at the current Claude.d file and create me a new one to direct Claude Code to now I could use Claude Code to do this, and I do sometimes actually. I flip between the two. So like if I'm making features and I pivot and I might ask Claude Code to start doing my docs like this. But there's something quite nice about the Claude web chat as well. And also because you're paying for it, it's like I may as well use this. And this is another kind of documentation, a place where my documentation lives, and to look back at the other chats it can be quite useful sometimes and have it in a different place. Okay, let's see what it's doing now. Immediate task, ADR6. It's deployed. Okay, this is not what I want. Instead of, okay, before I get a new one, the reason I don't want this Claude MD is, again, duplication of documentation. We already have all this written out in our amazing ADR. I've gone through this. This is what I want. Why do we have to write it out again? The whole point of this is to send this to send for, so Claude Code will look at Claude MD. Claude MD, I want to go to the ADR README file and get its instructions from here. Okay, so let's get that instead of I'm going to give it the actual path here. So it's docs ADR README. Code on what the task is and send it to okay, so this is what I've actually done. Instead of duplicating the instructions from ADR6, can we just have a brief explanation for Claude Code on what the task is and send it to docs ADR readme.md for the full instructions? See, I think when using Claude Code and AI, you have to jump in quite a lot and just be like, no, that's going to be. Let's do a quick summary. Okay, this is much better reference. Okay, this is good. This is good. So it's just given it what we're doing. This is good, very good. Our phasers, we've got 3 phasers. And look, it's in a very small amount of text. You want to keep the amount of text and context you're giving it as small as possible. It's got to be as small and to the point. When you start overloading these models with too much context, not only do you exceed your context limits, but you just confuse it. Kind of like humans, when we get too much information, we just get confused. We want things as simple, as less cognitive load as possible, break complex things down into simple bits. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna copy this back into here, the whole thing. have a quick look. Okay, it's given a bit too much information that I would have liked. I would like, if I was writing it myself, I probably would have just gone that. This success criteria bit is, in fact, let's delete that. This is kind of redundant. This is the duplication that I'm talking about. In fact, it all is, but just to give it a little bit of context before it goes to the file. Okay, it's going to docs ADR readme, which is correct. It's see, this is a kind of duplication as well. See here, we've got phase 1, 2, and 3. And here we've got phase 1, 2, and 3. Clear separation. I'm going to, and look, ADR6 implementation, development, that's kind of the same thing. Let's get rid of this as well. Okay. Okay, we got the link here. This is the most important thing. In fact, I could have written one sentence just saying, go to ADR6 in this file and do it. But yeah, this is good. This is good. Okay, so that's all saved. Let's see, is there anything else that I haven't saved? No, we're all saved up here. Okay, so now I'm ready to implement ADR6. What I normally do before that is I do a git commit. And the reason I do at this, I always do it at this stage. Once I've changed the docs because I got this buffer. So my last commit was at the last successful change. The next commit is at this point where I'm about to change something. So if I mess up the project, all I have to do is go back to here, where the only thing I've changed is the docs, and I can see where I went wrong, and go forth with without messing it up. Okay, so git commit, and I'm gonna call this docs changed before ADR6. Alright. Okay, so that's gone. Now's the fun bit. This is where you can yeah, this is where this, as they say, this is where the magic happens. Let's jump into Claude. Okay, so I'm not gonna resume anything. I've got a brand new Claude Code session here, and I'm gonna say, in fact, first, this is what I've been doing. Firstly, I ask it what it knows, because in theory, it should automatically read Claude MD and automatically give me the details in this README file. So I'm going to ask it, I'm just going to ask it what it knows. What do you know from what do you know about our next stage of development? No, I just want to ask it a question just to see that everything's working. And also, have I saved everything? Yeah, that's saved. Okay, here we go. Yeah, understands ADR6, phase 1, 2, and 3. That's come directly, as you can see, from the README. Your return feature. And it also knows that I'm in the file, so it knows that I'm ready to do it. So I'll be like, okay, let's begin. Let's see what happens. Now, when Claude Code is doing this, I always, well, not always, nearly always approve all the stuff. If it's doing something really boring and it's just making loads of like really simple components for something, I will just let it run. But I read all this stuff that it tells me, so I know exactly what it's doing. Okay, it's working on the badge filtering. It's okay, here we go. So we are in features.md and we're on the homepage section. And it wants to delete the badge filter system. Yeah, okay, because it's a component, it wants to keep it in there. Yeah, let's go. Now let me remove badge filter content from UX to MD. Calendar, icon badge. Yeah, in fact that's right as well because it's not talking about the other badges there. Where's recent and yeah, they all got the same style. There's no reason to have that one. Well done, Claude. Where were you at? UX.md. Badge filter system. Yeah, we don't need to know if they are visible or if. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, architecture. Okay, so it's going through all of the badge filter system, just went over the top everywhere. Okay, search for calendar component duplication sections now. Components.md has appropriate calendar components, features, details on lines 13 to 20. Okay, so now we're going to delete it from the features. Yeah, that's kind of components. See, a lot of these things do naturally overlap, and I can see why this has happened. But I think part of my learning process is just to understand and learn this separation that we're asking the questions here. How should, like, ux.md, how should it look and feel? Okay, look and feel. We were not really concerned about how it works on that one. That is for the components. What technical components do we build? Or the features, really. What should the user experience be? Okay, hold on. It's doing a whole load of stuff now. Workflow. It's looking at domain.md. Okay, it's quite happy with domain. Oh. Let's have a look at domain. Domain's pretty good. I've got to say, it's very prompts, images. Oh, okay. Now what's happening here? It's okay. So it's happy with domain, and it's gone. It's gone straight into features. Features has detailed workflows description that duplicate what's in domain. According to ADR6, workflow descriptions should only be in domain. Features should focus on user-facing functionality. Let me remove the duplicate workflow section. This is interesting. So, features is actually describing the workflow, where that's domain's job. Okay. Remember, features is what should the user experience be. Okay, let's do it. And in features, it's found more workflow stuff. So, yeah, there's workflow. Loads of workflow. Okay. Architecture.mg for workflow descriptions that need to be removed. Okay. Architecture's got workflow in it as well. In fact, that's the main beginning bit. Okay, it's just this bit. Prompt generation, image creation. Okay, I'm happy with that. Anything to slim down architecture.md is going to be handy. Workflow separation. What's this? Again. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so now we're getting all the workflow descriptions are going to be in domain. In fact, let's go to our hold on. Okay, so now we're in architecture MD. What's happened here is okay, it's changing the wording, so it isn't explaining what the workflow is. It's just more of a very short description. Good, I like it. Okay, architecture MD again. Yeah, it's explaining how it does it rather than just what it is. Yeah, I like it. I really like it. You see, it's just making things much more simpler. And just to note while this is going on, the thing I like about this is we're splitting up very complex things, and because we have an array of documents here, that's what allows us to be so simple in each doc with each thing. Because when they connect up, it becomes a very complicated things, but when they're separate, they're very simple, and that's what I like about this process. Okay, so domain. Oh wow, this is interesting. Duplication. Now we're merging. We're going to get rid of this index. Okay. And we're putting it into. No, we're getting rid of overview. And we're putting that into domain. Okay, the overview is going. That's what that first section is. Great. It's going to delete a file. It's going to delete the. Well, I think it's done it. Index.md has been deleted. On to the next phase. Phase 2. Simplify architecture MD. Long paragraphs. It's checking for long paragraphs here. Here we go. I can see the architecture MD is actually already quite well simplified into bullet points. Yeah. The main complex sections that could be simplified are the detailed database indexes and some verbose descriptions. Let me simplify a few sections. Yeah, I think this is a situation where simplifying really lots of really small things is going to help shorten the entire thing more drastically. And what's it found here? 4 additions and 4 removals. Yeah, I like it. Now we're architecture.md is done. Now we're going to work on components.md. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's really good as well. It's just making it less wordy. Yep. This is a. It's funny. More headlines. Yes, that's I haven't implemented that. That's something I need to do. It's the button that instead of loading all the articles, it just loads a certain amount, and you press a button to load more. It's just one of those buttons. I haven't done that yet, so I need to put that on the list. Where are we? We're still in components. It's just being more concise, short and concise wording. That's what it's doing at the moment. And with this components.md, there's not much. Yeah, there's not it's not changing anything drastically at the moment. It's just rewording. Yeah. A lot of this is just going to be alien to anyone watching. In fact, I'm going to fast forward from this section onwards, um, because a lot of this is meaningless to you guys who not really know how I've built this. To me, this is quite interesting because I've gone and built every single component here, and I'm quite interested to see what is how it's putting my components into our documentation process, documentation explanation process, as it were. So, okay, we're on to development.md. Okay, according to ADR6, development MD should be stripped to essential standards only. I need to remove complex examples, implementation details, and merge troubleshooting and separate files. Let me get to create a simplified version. Okay, let's see what it's doing. Yeah, this is very important. Run this um, for TypeScript errors before committing. Yeah, we don't need to explain what Pascal case and camel case is. I think Claude Code knows that. Thank you. Yeah, we're in development MD. State reduce and callback. Again, it's just slimlining it. It's kind of. I mean, it's not really changing much there. It's just rewording shorter bits. But it's doing it in a way. It's doing it in a way that's making it easier to read at a glance. And I think that's the key takeaway here is my vision from the Claude web chat and from the ADR6 is really coming out onto here. Here we go. Now, yeah, we don't need a big. To be honest, this was really useful when building it, but because I'm so familiar with this now, it's just like, yeah, all the components are just in components. Like when I first built this, this was really important, but I'm quite happy to go with this now. And actually, the lib folder is something I need to clean up. Might make another video on that. Let's do it. Project struct, yeah. Yes, okay. That's normal. Let's do that. stripping development MD to essential standards. Ooh. It's taking out the image handling bit from Cloudflare. Component development. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I kind of trust it. And it says it successfully completed ADR6 implementation. Okay, that's it. It's done. Oh, I was just reading that. Implementation. Let me mark the final task as completed and provide a summary. Okay, here we go. Here's the summary. Successfully implemented lightweight documentation architecture with the following key achievements. Did the badge filter description, calendar specs, workflow descriptions, redundant files. Okay. Simplification. That's what it was. That's what a lot of the main work was for. And results. Target 8 files architecture achieved. Single source of truth. Simplified content. Clear boundaries. Now this was my vision for the doc, for how I wanted the docs to be, and it's carried it out. Now I will commit these changes and browse through these documents at my own pace. And okay, so the architecture document is now 349. It's gone from 400 and something to 349. I think that it's big because there's a lot of key information on here that just needs to be here. I've got 2 lines there. Okay. Right. And that is it. That is how I work with Claude Code. Documentations, Claude Code as an agent, Claude MD as the instructor, and my whole documentation process as the context. Okay, there will be future videos regarding different features and how I built other sections, and I will see you then.